Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? Welcome back to another day of Indie Miss. Today we are going to be talking about all of the best indie face products that I tried in the year of 2020. I have a few things that I think are like rollovers from 2019, but I love them so much I still wanted to talk about them. I have already posted a video of all of the best indie lip products that I tried this year, so I will have that link down below, and then eye products will be coming up next. If you are new to my channel, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm so happy to have you here. I do a ton of videos like this where I just chat and talk about exclusively indie makeup products. So if you're interested to see more content like this in your subscription feed, don't forget to subscribe. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right on in. So I'm going to start off with highlighters because I'm pretty sure that's what I have the most of. I have 5 different highlighters here from the same brand I want to mention just because I love their formula so much. I fell in love with them in 2019 and they released a few more new shades in 2020. So that's going to be the Lethal Cosmetics highlighters. I love their highlight formula. I think it has a lot to do with my personal preference because they just look so soft and still glowy on the skin. They don't emphasize any texture. They're definitely more natural than some of the highlights I used to go for, but I just think they look so flattering and I reach for them all the time. So in my little single compacts here, I have the shade Scatter, which is a really beautiful purple. That would probably be my least favorite because I reach for that one the least. And then, oh no, you guys, my heart just broke. This is the shade Isotope. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to save that, but that is such a beautiful soft gold. And my absolute favorite is the shade Ionic. It's a really beautiful neutral. It leans the tiniest amount pink, but I just think it's a really beautiful highlight. Just a great formula I would recommend for so many different skin types. But they also recently released their face powder collection and they did send these ones to me in PR. So I ended up with 2 more highlighters in their formula, which I was really excited about. I can't remember the shade names off the top of my head, but I'll make sure to leave it on screen. But there's a really beautiful soft pink one. These ones are pretty new to my collection, but I have still been reaching for them. And that one is such a pretty like unique pink highlight. And then I also have this one here, which is a beautiful like peachy champagne shade, and I really love this one for my skin tone as well. This palette was pre-made, but I switched out one of the bronzers and I could just throw this in really quickly. This is the shade Quartz, and I've been really enjoying it as a contour. Again, pretty new to my collection, but from what I've tried so far, I just feel like Lethal Cosmetics, their powders in general, are super easy to blend. They look really nice on the skin. They just have a really good formula. So Lethal Cosmetics highlighters have definitely been a complete favorite this year. Next, I want to mention the Pink Lightning highlighter from Sydney Grace. This is another one that I did not try this year, but it's still a 2020 favorite just because it's one of the best loose highlighters. I've raved about this so many times on my channel, but they genuinely have the best loose highlight formula I've ever tried. And I know you're probably thinking, if you haven't tried this, that most loose highlighter formulas are pretty similar. Like they're a loose powder, but this has like a texture to it that's a lot more smooth, a little bit thicker. I just feel like it grabs the skin. Like, that sounds weird, but it just looks so good. It looks so reflective and beautiful on the skin. They've got a bunch of shades, but Pink Lightning is my absolute favorite. I also wanted to mention my Ofra highlighters because these have continued to be a formula that I reach for constantly. This first one here is Glazed Donut, and it's just such a classic icy white shade. I still reach for this all the time, and I feel like it's just one of the most blinding highlights that I have. I've loved it ever since the first time that I used it. So like I said, continues to be a favorite even though I did not try it for the first time this year. Also wanted to mention Ofra Pillow Talk. I don't have it in full size anymore, but I do have it in my March Beauty Word duo with Ofra. So there's Pillow Talk and Star Island. And I mean, I love both of these highlighters, but Pillow Talk just has my heart. It's just genuinely one of the most beautiful pink highlighters to ever exist. If you have fair skin, I really recommend this duo because both of these highlights are really great and you can mix them together to get more of a neutral look, or you could go more pink or more gold. So I feel like you're getting a lot out of this little duo that Samantha March curated, but I love Pillow Talk. One of my favorite highlights of all time. The reason I don't have the big one anymore is because it broke, but Ofra actually messaged me and they were like, girl, Can we send you a new pillow talk? But I don't have it yet. All right, so now let's talk about some face palettes. I have 3 to mention that I've really loved this year. So the top face palette, honestly, is going to be the Dawn face palette. This was the collaboration between Midas Cosmetics and Neon MUA. Again, I've raved about this so much, and I mentioned it as one of the best collaborations of 2020, and I just love this little palette. It is one of my favorite face palettes ever, not just of this year, because it truly is unique. I feel like as someone with very fair skin, there's so many times that I've bought face palettes and I've been suckered into them because I'm like, ooh, I could use this shade and that shade, and I never end up using all the shades. So I do have a decent amount of face palettes where there's shades that look so loved, and then there's other shades where it looks like I've literally never used them because I really haven't. So this one is unique for me because I feel like I can get use out of every single shade in here, and every single shade works really well for me. So here's what it looks like. I do have a little bit of hard pan on these 3 shades. I'm not sure why that is. Mostly it's the blush. I saw a trick to use a cotton pad to be able to get the hard pan off, so I'm gonna try that, but they still apply just fine. So there's a really beautiful cool toned pink blush. There's a bronzer and a contour. The contour is a little bit too warm for my liking to use as contour, but I will still use both of these as bronzers, sometimes on their own, sometimes I'll mix them together. I'll use one or the other, whatever. And then the highlight in here is just so beautiful. It's a Super Shock cheek kind of formula. It feels like a cream highlight, and it just looks so beautiful on the skin. I like using that with my finger or this brush here, the F03 High Cheekbone Highlighter. This works really well with that kind of formula. I just love this palette. I use it all the time. So this next product, I honestly didn't know whether to include it in the face or the eye category, but I just decided to go ahead and put it with face because that's what it's meant for, but I love it for both. That is going to be the Arthurine blush palette from Menagerie. I really love this as a blush palette because there's so many unique tones in here. It's the most interesting blush palette I've ever seen. At first I didn't realize how cool it was. I think it's even more beautiful in person, but I just feel like if you want to go peach or warm or like a yellowy blush, a purpley pinky blush, a purple blush, berry, red, plum, like there's so much going on here. I just feel so adventurous with my blush when I use this palette, and I really enjoy it. It is very pigmented, so I try to go in with a light hand, and I do prefer the lighter shades overall for my blush, but I love that these are so pigmented because they work really well as eyeshadows too. I did a whole 3 looks video using these on my eyes and cheeks. I can link down below for you in case you're interested, but they work absolutely perfect as eyeshadow. And even if you look at it and you look at it as an eyeshadow palette, again, I feel like it does have a really fun, unique color story for the eyes as well. So I've been reaching for this a ton. I think it's so fun, so inspiring, so different. So I love it. I had to include it as a favorite. I am wearing this shade right here as my blush today. And then last but not least, I'm gonna preface this by saying this product is super new to me, so I felt kind of weary about including it here because I don't like to prematurely call things favorites. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to test this a ton because I've only had it for a little bit, but I thought I would just throw it in here as like a little honorable mention. I have been loving the Nasta Beauty Swatch Me face palette. This is a completely new brand, and I love the packaging on this. It just looks like a little VHS tape. Here's what it looks like on the inside. I've been enjoying using these 3 shades here as cream blushes. You can use them on the lips as well for more of like a stain, or you could go in with a lip brush if you wanted them to be very pigmented and like a full-on lip color. I don't really use cream products like this as often for that kind of thing. Like I'd rather just use a bullet lipstick, but using these for blush, I think they are absolutely stunning. There's also 2 beautiful highlighters in here. This one called Fast Forward is what I have on the cheeks today. It does have like tiny little micro sparkles in it, but I don't feel like it looks like it's exaggerating the texture on my cheekbones or anything. It just looks like a really beautiful glow with a little tiny bit of sparkle. And then this shade Rewind is genuinely the most beautiful shade thrown all over the lid that I've ever seen. It's so sparkly, so pretty. So I've just been really enjoying this. I feel like the formulas in here are all really nice. So I wanted to include it in here, like I said, as an honorable mention. Okay, next I have a primer to talk about that I absolutely love. This is the Danessa Myricks Prism FX Hydrating Lotion. I love this because it feels hydrating on the skin, but it also has the most beautiful glow. It's kind of like a white with a little bit of a pinky iridescence to it. One of the reasons I love this is because I feel like it really does change the finish of the foundation that I put over it. It adds such a beautiful glow from within, and I just love that look because I have pretty dry skin. I used to love the Becca primer, which is actually what I'm wearing today just because I had a little sample I'm trying to finish up, but this is the First Light priming filter, and I used to have this as a holy grail, but it was replaced by the Danessa Myricks one. I just feel like if you love a glowy primer, this is stunning, and there is, I want to say, at least 1 or 2 other shades available as well, depending on your skin tone. If this one looks a little bit too light for you, there are other options. And then while we're here, I can mention the other product I have from Danessa Myricks because it doesn't quite fit in any particular category. This is the Danessa Myricks Dew Wet Balm in the shade Clear. I love, love, love this balm. It's a clear gloss basically in a pan, and you can throw it over any powder product to make it look cream. I like to just use my fingers and tap it on. I like putting it all over my nose. You could also use it underneath another powder highlighter to make it look even more intense on the cheeks. Honestly, you could put this over any area on your face that you want to look a little bit more dewy. I feel like it's so unique. It's so multi-purpose because I can take any powder product I have and make it look like a cream with this. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about some blushes. First, I want to start off with the Kosas Creme blushes. These are their Color and Light Creme duos. I have the shade 8th Muse, which is a really beautiful pink duo, and I'm pretty sure this one here is supposed to be a highlight, and I could use it as a very natural highlight, but sometimes I just use it as a very soft blush because it's such a soft pink shade. I just want to have like a very, very subtle color to the cheeks. I'll use that, or I'll use them mixed together. And then the other one that I have to mention here is called Velvet Melon, and it's such a beautiful peachy shade. And then again, this one is a little bit more of a true highlight on me. I love these because I feel like they blend really easily. They don't pick up the foundation that's underneath it. They last really well on my skin throughout the day. I do have dry skin, so I don't have a huge issue with blushes and bronzers and highlighters wearing off throughout the day. I picked these up because there was a ton of hype surrounding them, and I'm glad that I did. I also have a powder blush here I wanted to mention that I've been really enjoying. This is the Heaven's Glow blush from M Cosmetics in the shade Faded Clementine. I got this kind of on a whim, like I just ordered a few things from M Cosmetics because I heard good things about them. I was just curious to try them out, and I threw this in the cart, and I've really, really been loving it. It's a baked blush formula, but it's super glowy, and it has a really stunning warm tone to it. I just feel like it looks so nice on the cheeks. I don't really have anything like it. I'm guessing there's probably a shade from Milani that would be similar because they have a lot of glowy baked blushes. I'm sure they have some type of orange if you're looking for something a little bit more affordable, but this is in my collection, and this is the one that I reach for and the one that I love. Every time I do a warm eye look, I want to reach for this blush. I've also been enjoying the cream blushes from Salt New York, but I don't know where my little palette is right now. So I'm going to finish off with the best brush that I tried this year. I've tried a lot of face brushes. There's been a lot of really great releases. I really like the brushes I've tried from BK Beauty, from Alamar. I've tried some new Sigma ones that were great. I'm super overdue to do a dedicated brush video, but I wanted to go ahead and mention one today because ever since I got it, I've literally used it almost every single day. This is the Anisa Beauty Angled Concealer Brush, and it is the best concealer brush I've ever tried. I really, really recommend this one. It's just such a perfect shape. It's so, so soft. It gets right underneath the eyes, like just right here so perfectly. It blends concealer in beautifully, and just because of how dense it is, I feel like it really adds extra coverage to whatever concealer you're using. I used to be the person who used a sponge every single day for my concealer no matter what, but this brush completely changed that. I just feel like nothing else that I've tried has even come close. I know there's a concealer brush from e.l.f., but honestly that is so scratchy compared to the softness of this one. There's the one, it was a G something from Morphe that everyone used to rave about, that they called like a beauty blender on a brush. I have it somewhere, but even that, like as good as it did blend concealer out, it was a little bit too big for me for underneath my eyes. Like I felt like I couldn't get quite in there. Whereas with this, I feel like I can really get like all the way in my inner corner and truly pack on the coverage there. Because Anissa Beauty is a brush brand that I tried for the first time this year, and I do like a lot of their brushes, but this one is my favorite. And fortunately, it is also the least expensive one that they sell because it's the smallest one. But personally, I feel like it was worth every single penny. So those are all the face products I wanted to mention today. I know that there's some categories I didn't really have anything in, but I'm thinking of maybe doing a video that's like the best mainstream products that I still use despite all the indie, because they just haven't been replaced yet or something. I know that's the longest title ever, but that's kind of like the general idea of the video I want to do. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. Maybe I can do that January 1st. I'm not trying to squeeze it into Indie Miss because it doesn't quite make sense for the theme of Vlogmas, but I can still make it happen if it sounds interesting. So that is everything. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.